The highly anticipated Star Wars Ahsoka finally had its big debut on Tuesday night, marking the exciting beginning of the newest live-action Star Wars series. This show is all about Ahsoka Tano, played by the awesome Rosario Dawson, and it's bringing in a mix of both new and familiar faces from the Star Wars universe. In this video, we talk about what went down in the first 2 episodes of this premiere, and our first impressions from the double-episode premiere. It's important to mention at this point that this video contains spoilers. Having cleared that out of the way, welcome to Star Wars Deconstructed, students of the Force and acolytes of the galaxy. Whether you're a Jedi, Sith, or somewhere in between, join us today as we discuss our first impressions from the Ahsoka double-episode premiere. Ahsoka dives right into the continuation of our titular hero's story, picking up from where we left off in the finale of Rebels. Now, Ahsoka finds itself in the same time frame as The Mandalorian. It's been several years since the Galactic Empire's fall and Return of the Jedi. This is a time when the New Republic, the democratic government formed by the Rebel Alliance after they kicked the Empire's butt, is trying its best to keep control over the galaxy. The show starts off with an opening crawl, which is actually the first time they've done that in a live-action Star Wars series. This crawl gives us the lowdown on why Ahsoka is on a mission to track down Grand Admiral Thrawn, played by Lars Mikkelsen. We're introduced to a pair of Dark Force users named Baylan Skoll, played by Ray Stevenson, and Shin Hati, played by Ivana Sakno. These two are up to some shifty business as they rescue Morgan Elsbeth, played by Diana Lee Inosanto, who has been locked up since her showdown with Ahsoka back in Season 2 of The Mandalorian. Meanwhile, Ahsoka herself is on a mission too. She's checking out a temple on the planet Arcana, hoping to find this map that's supposed to lead her to Thrawn. But of course, things can't be easy. A bunch of HK-87 droids show up and decide to tango with Ahsoka. This leads to an intense battle, and just when you think things can't get any crazier, the droid's self-destruct mode kicks in, causing a big explosion. Ahsoka gets some help from Huyang, played by David Tennant, and manages to escape with a precious map. And here's a cool twist. She connects with Hera Syndulla, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, to figure out their next move. Up next, we see the planet Lothal, where the rebels have a big party going on to celebrate their heroics in freeing the planet. Ryder Azadi, played by Clancy Brown, yep, the same one from Star Wars Rebels, is the host of the party and introduces Sabine Wren, played by Natasha Liu Bordizzo. But here's the twist. Sabine is a no-show at her own moment in the spotlight. Instead, she decides to skip the event and head back to her cozy place where her Lothcat is waiting. And then, things get touching. Sabine watches a hologram message left by the late Ezra Bridger, played by Aman Esfandi. In this message, Ezra reminisces about their shared history and drops a heartfelt bombshell by calling Sabine a sister to him. Ahsoka and Sabine's paths cross again, and this time, it's not just by chance. Ahsoka needs Sabine's expertise to get the map up and running. They have a heart-to-heart, reflecting on their past experiences together. There's a moment where they discuss Ahsoka's role, or lack thereof, in Sabine's journey to becoming a Jedi. This heavy conversation prompts Sabine to make a run for it, taking the key she needs with her. While all this is happening, Huyang is busy analyzing some lightsaber hilts. These were used in the daring rescue of Morgan from her prison, and guess what? Huyang figures out that one of these hilts belongs to Baylan, a Jedi who went undercover during Order 66. Before Ahsoka can even start putting her detective skills to work, Shin, one of those Dark Force users, suddenly appears on the scene. And what's her target? Yep, you guessed it, Sabine. The tension ramps up as Sabine faces off against Shin in a lightsaber duel. And guess what? The episode ends with a shocker. Sabine gets stabbed. The second episode of Ahsoka is a whirlwind of events. First things first, we can all breathe a sigh of relief because Sabine is alive and kicking. She wakes up in a hospital surrounded by Ahsoka, Huyang, and Hera. Now here's where it gets interesting. Hera suggests that Ahsoka should take Sabine back as her Padawan. But, surprise, surprise, Ahsoka isn't too keen on the idea. She argues that Sabine isn't quite ready yet and is struggling to harness her Force abilities. On the other side of the galaxy, Morgan, Baylan, and Shin meet up on the planet Arcana. Remember that map they swiped from Ahsoka and Sabine? Well, it's revealed that the map points to Thrawn's location. And it's not just any location, but a corner of space and time. This revelation is thanks to a device called the Eye of Sion. Baylan's not buying into the whole space-time thing, but Morgan confirms that it's legit. She's got this ability to catch glimpses of a future where Thrawn returns. Back with Sabine, she gets her hands on one of those pesky HK-87 droids and decides to do a little dismantling. Lo and behold, she finds Corellian tech in there. This clue sends Hera and Ahsoka on a trip to Corellia. Guess what? Morgan's old shipyard is now under Republic control, although a bunch of ex-Imperial workers are still on the payroll. Hera, despite her rank, hits a roadblock in getting security clearance at the base, which raises suspicions. A scuffle breaks out at the shipyard, featuring Ahsoka facing off against another of Morgan's henchmen, Marok. We made a video about his introduction to the series. In the midst of all this chaos, Hera and Chopper take to the skies, chasing after a ship that holds a hyperdrive capable of activating the Eye of Sion. Ahsoka finally reunites with Sabine, who has taken on her Mandalorian identity once again, complete with her armor and a fresh haircut. This scene is a nod to the final moments of Star Wars Rebels, with some tweaks to fit the live-action format. The Star Wars shows on Disney+, the brainchild of Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, have navigated a delicate relationship with their animated predecessors Clone Wars and Rebels. While The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett brought in characters from the animation world, like Bo-Katan Kryze and Cad Bane, they focused on live-action central figures. Favreau and/or Filoni seemed aware that not all Star Wars fans watch the animated series, so they took care to provide context with elements of those shows, like the Darksaber. Now, with Ahsoka, it's Filoni's solo flight. He penned and directed both episodes in this week's release. This series is Filoni's pure vision, without the shared collaboration of a filmmaker mainly experienced in live action like Favreau. And Ahsoka clearly leans into its role as a sequel to Rebels with all its strengths and potential drawbacks. From a viewer who's well acquainted with Rebels and its characters, diving into Ahsoka feels like coming home. Little nods like Clancy Brown reprising his role as Ryder Azadi, the governor of Lothal, where much of Rebels action occurred, hit the sweet spot. However, it's clear that Ahsoka is designed to be more accessible to those who are new to this particular corner of the Star Wars universe. Filoni, known for his solid storytelling craft, ensures the plot is clear for newcomers. Nevertheless, there's a distinction between understanding the plot and having an emotional connection to it. While the reunion of the Rebel survivors has its plot-driven purpose, the emotional depth might be a bit lacking for those who aren't already emotionally invested in the characters and their pasts. The relationships between these characters and their feelings of loss, especially for Ezra Bridger, comes across as a direct communication of Rebels, making emotional investment a prerequisite. The series follows a survivor's journey in search of Ezra, who seemingly sacrificed himself in the Rebels finale. These relationships and their shared sense of loss are where Ahsoka most authentically carries its Rebels legacy. Characters like Ezra and the emotional nuances surrounding him matter deeply to those familiar with the previous series, but they may not resonate as strongly with newcomers. Still, Filoni excels in his storytelling prowess, regardless of dimension. The episodes deliver thrilling action, with Rosario Dawson's portrayal of Ahsoka being a standout. The choreography, editing, and overall execution of the action scenes are top-notch. While some elements are appreciated more by those who followed the animated series, the show still packs enjoyment for all viewers, both in terms of action and some new character introductions. Premiering with 2 episodes allows the exposition and groundwork to be swiftly laid out. The conflict is clear: Thrawn's rescue for an Imperial revival versus Ahsoka and Sabine's mission to save Ezra while thwarting Thrawn. However, Ahsoka also serves as a test case for how much Filoni and the team can rely on animated characters and storylines to resonate in a live-action context, appealing to the broader Star Wars fandom. So there you have it, the lowdown of the first 2 episodes and our first impressions from these episodes. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to this channel and watch the next one.